guys, today I am doing a soap tutorial. What? Seriously, soap has not seen this channel since Halloween. It's been forever. Today we're gonna do something that's pretty instead of creepy, and I'm gonna show you how I made these gemstone soaps. Before we get into the tutorial, I just want to go over the boring stuff that I say every single intro. I know, guys, I know. But there are new people here, I think. Hi. So if that's you, you can join the family by clicking the red subscribe button below and the bell icon to be notified every single time I post a video. I know, broken record. And if you want to show your SoCraftastic support, give this video a thumbs up to help the video get recommended to YouTube so more people can see it. I would appreciate it. And if you missed out on last week's DIY, I did painting with slime, which was pretty cool, so you might want to check that out. I'll link it in the description box below, along with all my social media accounts. Now, without further ado, let's get on into the gemstone soap tutorial. I don't know. Okay. To make soap, I am using, well, soap, I know, right? But you need a glycerin or other type of soap base, and I'm using both clear and white, so my soap will be a little bit more dimensional and more realistic. Chop the giant soap cube up into little tiny pieces with a very sharp knife, and be careful when you're doing this, of course. I'm using glycerin soap base, and I got this from Michael's craft store. You can get this from other craft stores, and you can also buy it online from Amazon and soap making websites. And going back to my opening statement to explain why we're using soap to create soap, this is a melt and pour tutorial. If you want to actually make your own soap from scratch, you want to look up tutorials for cold processed soap, which uses a bunch of different chemical powders, so it's just a lot more time and labor intensive and probably costs more as well. I don't know. I haven't done it yet. And I don't know if I will. I was just blabbing off some information that might be helpful to you guys while I chop that up. Now I'm finished, and I'm gonna pop that into the microwave. You want to microwave for about 20 to 30 seconds at a time and stir in between until the soap is completely liquidy and melted. You don't want to over microwave though, because then it might get all bubbly. To add color, I'm using soap coloring. You could also use food coloring, but that could stain your hands, so be careful. And also I am adding a little bit of shimmer with eyeshadow. Now my soap is out of the microwave. It should look like this, liquidy without clumps, and it is ready to pour into the little containers. I'm doing this to divide it up into smaller sections so I can dye those different colors. Add a few drops of any color you want. The more drops you add, the more pigmented it's going to be. And if you are using food coloring for this, the more drops that you use, the more chance that it could possibly stain your hands, but it probably won't. And for some of them, you can add in the eyeshadow as well to make it a little bit shimmery. This is completely optional, so if you don't have any, don't worry about it. And after you do mix in your colors, if you notice that there are some bubbles at the top of your soap, you can use rubbing alcohol and spray that on top to pop them. I started out with 5 colors, as you can see, and they're in these throwaway papery cups that are used for desserts and snow cones. But you could also use a silicone mold, which is completely reusable, and especially for it being Earth Day, it's a great alternative to having paper cups to throw away and or recycle if you can recycle in your area. So just another option, and I'm adding pinky and purpley tones to this. And I also found in my soap making drawer some glitter, which I totally forgot I had. I got it from the soap making section, so I think that it's different somehow than crafting glitter. I don't know what the difference is, but it says soap glitter. You don't have to wait for it to be completely hardened because you're gonna chop it up anyway, but you do want it to be firm enough so you're not like poking holes and it globbing out from the middle or anything. I just popped all the soaps out from the containers and the mold, and then I cut them up. Like I said, I'm chopping them into small pieces with my sharp knife. Now for the question of the video, what is your birthstone, and is that your favorite birthstone? For instance, mine is amethyst, the purple one, and when I was younger, I really wanted it to be pink, and then at some point I changed and I really wanted it to be sapphire, because then my favorite color changed from pink to blue. Leave your comments below. You might notice that I also have a clear blue colored one. You can melt down the clear soap and color that as well. Like I was saying, you want some variety, and this will make it more realistic if you add the clear and white soaps together. Put a bunch of super tiny pieces into the cup, and these are actually too big, and you'll see why later. If you like this effect, that's fine, but I would recommend chopping the pieces down even smaller, which you'll see me do later on in the video. Then you're gonna melt the clear soap, and when it's really hot still, pour it into the cup. I'm using a plastic cup for this, just so you guys can see the effect that's going on inside. This was my very first attempt, and I realized that one, the pieces should be smaller for the color to like bleed and melt a little bit, and two, you can kind of help that by mixing it, but I did get that kind of to do the effect at the top. Another really cool effect that you can do with your soap is to pour some onto a plate, and then you can add soap colorant or food coloring if that's all you have, and you can kind of swirl it like I did here and then let that harden. And another thing that you can do with different colors of soap chunks is melt them but don't stir them, and when they come out of the microwave you can pour, and there will be these really subtle but beautiful swirls that look so gem-like. The camera does not do it justice. I also use the same color combination to pour into a Dixie cup, which is another kind of container that I'm showing you that you can use instead of a plastic cup. And I chopped up very, very tiny pieces of clear soap, and I sprinkled them on top when the soap became a little bit tacky, so these can look kind of like clusters, like crystal clusters. Here I'm removing the hardened soap from the plate, and the effect is so beautiful. I chopped it down into a piece small enough to fit into a mold, and what I did here is I put a little bit of clear soap at the bottom, and then I sprayed it with rubbing alcohol, and I popped the patterned plate piece into the bottom. Right now it isn't thick enough to be a complete soap piece, so I scored the back with a wooden dowel, and to do that you just make lines in different directions. I do horizontal, vertical, and diagonal, and then I spray rubbing alcohol before adding the freshly melted soap on top to make it thicker. So when this is complete, you'll see that design on the front, and it's so beautiful, and I think it's really realistic looking. Here's the 3 types of molds: plastic cup, paper cup, and a rubber like silicone mold, any kind that you want. They're all very easy to use, but only the one is reusable. I cut away the cups for these 2 or peeled them away. And then all you have to do to create a gem-like shape is chop away at the soap. The first goal, if you are using a plastic cup with ridges like I did, is to get rid of all that indentation and any marks that will make it look fake. So I got rid of all those ridges and chopped those off. I didn't look at pictures of stones while I was doing this because I figured that in nature things aren't perfect, and there could be a stone that looks exactly like the one that I'm doing here, even if I've never seen a picture of it. But you can use photos for reference if you want. And when you chop off soap pieces, all those slivers can be remelted and used in future soaps, so you can keep creating with your recycled leftover pieces. Here's what I was talking about earlier. I used thinner slivers of soap, and I put those into the cup, and the melted soap I pour in immediately after getting it out of the microwave, so it is pretty steaming hot, and this is going to allow for it to kind of blend and melt down the slivers of soap that are in there, and it'll cause it to have more of a gradient effect than just a blunt, like there's a chunk of soap in you effect. I did this in 2 separate pours. The first one was a lighter blue, and this one you can see is darker. And then I got rid of the bubbles. I only did the pour-in method for this cup. The other 4 that you see here, I actually melted the pieces in the microwave. You want to be careful with this and only microwave for about 12 seconds at a time to make sure that your cup isn't going to like completely melt. But mine did not melt at all, which I was really surprised. I thought it was going to melt down, and it didn't. I really like how these turned out as opposed to the first one that I did, because the chunks of soap are less obvious when you just melt them in the microwave in the container that they're actually supposed to be in, as opposed to melting them in a separate container and pouring that into whatever mold you're using. It just works a lot better to melt it in that actual mold, and don't melt it completely so there's still like kind of chunks in there, and then they can break down a little bit. Here are all the soap stones that I created. Let me know which one is your favorite, and if you're curious about the purpley one that is kind of like, I don't know, it looks kind of like ice cream on top or something. For that one, all you have to do is keep stirring while the soap is tacky and while you're adding in the soap colorant, and it'll do that after a while. I know they don't look perfect, but that's kind of the fun of it, because no stone in nature is perfect and no 2 are exactly alike. So you're creating one-of-a-kind unique pieces. If you do want even more realistic looking gems, you can get a mold, and I think I just got this one from Amazon, but these are so tiny. Or you could get a mold making putty such as Amazing Mold Putty, and you can get an actual gemstone and make a mold of that and then use that to make realistic looking soaps. And you can of course use them to wash your hands, but I think that they're so pretty I'm just going to use them as room decor like I usually do with my soap creations. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's been forever since I've done soap. So let me know if you want to see more soap, less soap. I haven't done soap since, like I said, October. So, you know, if you just hate soap, let me know. And for those of you who have been waiting for a new Wreck This journal, just sit tight. I'm working on it, I promise. I was just kind of letting myself breathe and take a little break from the 2 videos a week posting schedule. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you very soon. Bye! Oh wait. When I have 3 of something, I have to try and juggle them. Fly soap, fly! Whoa! Attempt number 2 of the flying soap. Oh, it has cat hair all over it. Oh, there we go. Yes. Ta-da! That's not that impressive, but I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.